It's your not as nervous as she used to be, GM Amber. For this week's episode, we played How to Be Ava White by Eva Wei. It's from the anthology #Feminism, which is a collection of 34 nano games all written by women. It's a pretty amazing collection of games, and I hope to play more someday for Shapeshift. How to Be Ava White is not your typical role-playing game, but as all of you will soon find out, or already know, I enjoy empathy games a whole heck of a lot. I feel that a part of being a good GM is being exposed to different viewpoints and drawing from real experiences, because not only will it help you create more authentic characters and scenarios, but it'll also help you connect with and understand your players better. I chose to keep in a lot of our laughter and goofing around throughout the gameplay in order to soften the overall mood. Plus, I think all three of us who played would feel a lot better if I kept it in. Brandon really wanted me to make sure his disclaimer was used.
Disclaimer, the views expressed in this podcast totally are not those of the speaker.
Let it be known now that this episode is about a 50-50 split of roleplay and talk show. I hope you find it enlightening, intriguing, and entertaining. Hey, Kristin.
Hi, Amber.
Hey, Brandon.
Hi, Amber.
Are you guys ready to figure out how to be Ava White?
Who is Ava White?
What is woman?
How to female?
Today we're going to learn that.
All right. So we're playing How to Be Ava White by Eva Wei, which is from the collection of games from the #Feminism book. This is a game about society's unrealistic expectations of how to be a woman. The game is set inside Ava White's head, where all of the most important aspects of her identity are holding a board meeting. Each of us will be portraying one of these aspects as if it were a fiercely passionate politician with a very specific agenda. Each aspect will take all measures necessary to secure a spot for themselves in Ava's identity. So the purpose of this board meeting is to make Ava White the ideal woman, perfect in every way according to society's expectations. So right now we can pick the roles that we want to play. There are 10. The rules say if you're only doing 3 players, to pick 1 through 3, but I think because of the newness of all of us, I'm going to allow you guys to pick whatever aspect
we might be more comfortable with.
Which you might be more comfortable with. So the aspects are the independent careerist, the promiscuous sex bomb, the caring housewife, the innocent prude, the emotional one, the strong feminist, the humble empath, the damsel in distress, the protective mother, and the vain pretty face. So just to talk about playing these characters, you don't need to play your role with the same characteristics as your aspect, but you might take inspiration from it. And the example they give is, the humble empath is not necessarily humble in the discussions, while the emotional aspect might appeal to everyone's feelings in order to get what it wants. There are only 2 rules for this debate. We cannot all be in agreement. If more than half of you are in agreement on any subject, the rest of the players have to disagree in some way or another. This rule is more important than the consistency of your aspect's opinions. 2. Ava White's final persona can only contain at most half the number of aspects in play, rounded up. For example, if there are 5 players in total, Ava White's final persona can only contain 3 aspects. So for us, she can only have 2.
So this is like a battle royale.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like Inside Out, except instead of emotions, it's different expectations of women.
Yes. Aspects and roles.
I think that was you referenced Inside Out, and I was like, I'm seeing that.
It's a good movie. You should check it out.
It's pretty cute.
So the purpose of this game is not to come to a decision, but to play out the debates and conflicts leading up to that decision. I'm independent careerist, Brandon is the caring housewife, and Kristin is the promiscuous sex bomb. Hello, everyone. We're gathered here today to talk about some very important decisions. Today, we're going to be discussing how to make Ava White the ideal woman. So today, we're going to be discussing 4 subjects: her personality, skills, priorities, and expectations. I would like for us to each take only 10 minutes on each subject, and once the timer goes off, we are no longer going to discuss that subject. So the first one we're going to be talking about is personality. What should Ava's most prominent traits be? I now open the floor for discussion. Well, it sounds like nobody is jumping to start this topic. So I feel like what the most important personality traits is obviously being independent.
I agree.
You agree? Oh, that's great. Yes, I love
disagree.
independence. Oh, what?
I disagree. I think caring is the most prominent trait. We're in this world together with everyone. It's important for us to all work together and be caring and be empathetic with those around us, especially if we want to build a family.
But like, you can really only rely on yourself. People will just let you down.
Well, you can build a family and help rely on...
You've got your own hand, right?
Calm down.
But if you build a family, you can rely on them as well. You don't have to just depend on yourself.
I don't know what you have experienced family-wise. Have you seen the types of families that exist in the world?
They really get in the way of certain things.
I mean, what's the guarantee of actually having a reliable, dependent family?
Those people just didn't care enough about their family members. If they did, they would have a strong family.
Caring. I just see it as it just
Doesn't
gets
it get boring though? Like, don't you want to mix things up?
No, just have more kids, and then you can have more...
Yeah, but then you're still saddled with the same old ones, like...
No, the more the merrier. The more kids you have, the more kids you can grow.
Why would I want them in my house?
What personality trait do you feel like would be more
I
prominent?
need freedom.
Freedom.
How can you have a family with freedom?
Yeah, exactly.
Other than being independent, caring, and having freedom and being free, what other traits do you think should be prominent?
She's really got to have this magnetism. You know what I mean? She's got to...
The charisma, you mean?
I guess that's part of it.
I agree with that. If you need charisma,
you need to draw
in
people
order
into
to,
you.
Yeah, you
continually, over and over again, all night.
You need that charisma to help strengthen your family.
Again with this family thing, I'm not so sure about that.
I don't know how charisma.
You got to be a good mother and a good wife.
I have to disagree with this because you guys are both in agreement where I am with charisma. Again, I feel like charismatic traits and caring traits really just get in the way of really being that strong, independent, reliable. It's just not like, I don't want her to be seen as some sort of simpering.
No one wants that.
You don't want to be ruthless. You don't want to come off as a nag.
You want people to like you. Like,
really?
Oh yeah.
I feel like
because
that's not as important.
Things are definitely empty when there's no one around you.
That's what I'm saying.
And if you push people away,
exactly.
It's just that in society, women who tend to be solely focused on being caring, they just get taken advantage of. I just feel like it's not. She shouldn't.
Do definitely have to look out for yourself first,
right? I feel like self is more important. So an independent and
unattached,
focused. No, not so much unattached. I think you need to have some attachments.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's important to find a strong partner to be with and grow as a unit.
That's too much work. Like, you can.
Oh, but it's worth the work. You put that work in and you have a strong family. That's what I've been saying all along.
But at the cost of that freedom.
I mean, what's more free than watching a bunch of children grow with your values?
Holy shit!
America!
Oh my God, this is great. I just don't think it should be, I feel like, family can be important. I mean, I know that sometimes they can get away and it's one of those, like, I don't know, just kind of holds you back and progressing. I mean, I really want Ava to be the kind of person that is an example for all other women, and
right, take control of your sexuality.
That's part of it. Yes.
Own it. Like, only you own your body. Like, you're in control. You're the one calling the shots. It doesn't matter what it is that you are doing as long as, it is up to you.
Correct. I feel similarly.
I disagree.
Of course you would disagree. You don't understand how...
I think it's entirely possible to have a sexually fulfilling life with a husband or wife and the rest of what we were talking about.
And also the rest.
And also the rest. God damn it. I feel like
but you get so set in your ways with just one person. Like, there's no real way to experiment with just one person every day, all the time.
There is if you have the
But everybody's got their own personality quirks, and
I mean, if you have consent with your partner, there's nothing stopping you from...
Oh, okay. Oh, we're getting kind of off track here. Let me pull us back into this. We're talking about specifically traits that we want Ava to exhibit. You're so far saying caring and being family oriented, and you're saying being sexual and owning your sexuality, and I'm saying goal and being career driven and being independent. I just don't see how... I feel like...
I still think to be a woman, you need to be the biggest, most powerful, most in control woman that you are.
Right.
Like a good, strong mother.
I guess, but I mean...
I feel like in today's
society... You need to be able to stand on your own and continually make your own decisions.
In today's society, I feel like it's becoming our time as women to discard the...
Yes. Whatever it is you're saying, yes.
Discard the shackles of previous perceptions of we have to be reproducers and empathetic and caring. And I think now's the time to actually stand up. And I feel like Ava should be that woman.
Chicken's done.
All right. Stop. Okay, that was the timer. We're going to move on to our next subject. We are going to talk about skills.
Ooh, here we go.
What should Ava's primary skill sets be?
I think being in control of her environment, being able to coordinate plans with all of the family members, being able to be on top of things with all the events of the family, and just being a good project manager, a good people project manager.
I would say project management is a very good skill set, but maybe not apply to family scheduling only.
I think one of the more important skills is being able to read people and maybe seeing what their needs are and reading their skills and seeing what they can do for you.
I 100% agree with that. It's important to keep track of, all of your family members and how they're feeling, what problems they're having, being able to help them solve problems.
I'm talking about getting off.
The caring housewife.
I mean, I still agree because that could lead to more children.
Oh, good God.
I feel like that is less important than being able to make decisions. I feel that taking into consideration too many other people's feelings and thoughts and skill sets might get in the way of a clear judgment. So I feel like being able to analyze a situation and to execute on it.
How can you be a good businesswoman if you can't see the wedge and where you can fit yourself in? And if you can't read people, then...
Okay, when you put it like that, there is some benefit to being able to read. Okay, so you have a point. There is some benefit to being able to read people, but I don't think it should be her primary skill set. I think the decision making is more important than necessarily always being in tune with what other people are thinking.
So you just want to bowl people over. That'll get you real far.
No, not bowl people over per se. I mean, I'm not an inconsiderate person. I'm just saying that there's other qualities that maybe should take precedent over others that will benefit Ava as a person more in this world.
But I think there's a lot of benefits if you focus on being that caring person who reaches out to others and builds these relationships. You can become more powerful overall than just by yourself. Think of it like being on a really strong business team, being able to connect with everyone on your team, understand their wants and needs, and help support them as they help support you. Think of how powerful you can be with that kind of relationship.
So you're saying leverage other people's emotions against them?
Not against them, no. You understand what they're feeling and thinking and saying and what problems they have. You help them, they help you. Everyone gets stronger. A high tide raises all boats.
It sucks because I want to agree so bad. And I feel the same way. I think you could be a strong and independent person who's caring and empathetic.
That was my attempt to reach out to you and cause you to disagree.
I think the only way to be powerful is to be able to stand on your own. it is important to be able to read people. You need to have something that you can connect to, but you need to have the strength to stand on your own when they move on.
Okay, so we're being pretty vague right now about skill sets. Let's talk about actual, like you can actually apply into the world. Yeah. Yes, techniques, I guess, is a thing we could talk about. You want to say something about techniques? I can't look at you. I can't look at you when you say this.
I'll turn my head too. You're free to say anything you want into the microphone. I'll even take off.
No, we're okay. Just be PG-13.
I'm still in the same room with you. You hear it if you take your headphones off. I think I was just going to try to ask, what kind of technique are you looking for?
There's so many.
Indeed.
Well, I'm specifically talking about like being able to, maybe public speaking. I feel like Ava, if to be this independent.
God, that's so boring.
Public speaking is a skill. And it's a hard one.
So is good fucking.
That is true. I agree with that.
I think public speaking is important, but I think a very important skill set is to have just a stable, clean home and making sure to, put in the work to clean that home and make sure everyone is taken care of at home. Everyone has their school lunches.
Why do you keep going home? Like, what's it? I mean,
well, it's so important to be.
I understand what you think is at home, but
it's so important to be family oriented.
Why?
You got to build strong families.
Why?
Because
oh God,
you're doing the 5-year-old thing. Because
you should be used to it.
Because as a woman in modern society, we not only have to have a strong career, but we also have to have strong families.
I understand why you have to have a
families.
Strong career so that you
can live in this world,
money, right,
and also be fulfilling.
Do you trust your husband with the house and the kids?
I'm not married.
It's up to us.
I'm not married. You're part of Ava. That's really good. It's like men should be able to do the same work that we should be able to do. Why are we expected to do both of these things? Why aren't we talking? I don't agree with that at all.
I mean, he's also working at his job too. The house is just, if we don't do it, it's just going to fall apart.
So it's an obligation.
I am so taken aback by what you're saying right now. Why do we have this expectation upon us to do both a full-time job and take care of everything? If the man can't, or husband can't do it?
Oh, he's barely home, and if we want to be a strong mother...
Okay. I think that is another discussion for another day, but I think you've got the wrong mindset about husbands and men in general.
Y'all are just so uptight.
Excuse you?
You're too uptight. Are you getting laid? Do you have time?
I mean, it's not exactly important.
Why not? It should be. Do you know the kind of endorphins that are released? All these it's good for you. It's great for your skin.
I don't really care about what my skin looks like.
That's
it's not as important. It's not very important to what I'm doing for
harder
work.
To get, promotions as a woman if you're not wearing all the makeup.
That's not my fault. That is not my fault.
Why do you need promotions when you can stay at home and have a strong house? I mean, that seems to solve that problem there. Just stay at home.
All right, that's the timer for that subject. So the next subject for discussion is priorities. What should Ava think are the most important things in the world?
I would say the people around her, specifically her partner and her children.
Well, the partner, sure.
Dang. You're colder than I thought you were.
So we slightly agree. We agree on some things.
I think Ava's priority should lie first and foremost with progressing her career. I feel career before everything else.
How can you have a strong household with a full-time career?
Obviously, you understand that we don't have to think about providing for a household
if there is
not a household.
But our partner will be the breadwinner.
Why?
We can stay home
no.
and help support them with that.
I am not attached to somebody like that. Nope.
Mm-mm.
I get one thing
agree.
from a partner.
Just one, not, fulfillment.
Well, I mean, it could be
children.
I mean, it depends on how much time we have that night, I guess.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't ever get married or have a partner or what have you.
Just keep it open.
Do you really want to juggle raising your kids with a career
No
when
kids.
you can focus on the kids?
Tie my tubes. Can we tie her tubes? Is that up to us?
Eventually.
Please don't. Please do not.
So,
don't take away our potential to be, I don't know, even more of a mother. No, never mind.
life giver.
A quiverful. Ugh, I hate your character more than mine.
I hate myself.
Yeah.
I'm on track. Like I said, going back to what I was talking about at the very beginning as being
priorities,
leading and being an example of what a modern day woman should be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there should be less emphasis on raising children, and first and foremost, the world is overpopulated to begin with. We don't need to be adding more people to this planet.
You don't want kids at all? And if you want kids, you're okay with spreading yourself thin? Are you okay with putting the half effort into raising your kids? Why not go the full way?
Have you heard of daycares?
Yeah, I'm not going to put our kids into the hands of some stranger.
Look, I think Career Woman had a point here with the world is overpopulated. Everything sucks.
But don't you see there's a battle going on? There are a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah.
It's on us
Why
for
would you want to bring kids into that world?
It's on us for making and raising kids who are good to overpower those who do evil. I mean, I think that's specifically the quiverful mindset.
Yes, it is. Wow.
I just think that's completely incongruous with what you want, is for all of these people to be comfortable and safe and happy. That's not what this world is. I don't think you really want that.
But we can give that to them.
How?
By building our relationships, by being strong, by being caring. We can change the world one person at a time.
So we're fighting fire with fire.
No, we're fighting
babies
fire
against
with
babies.
water.
We're fighting fire with babies is what you're doing. I think that's very misguided. And definitely not where Ava should be prioritizing her time and her effort and her mental energy. No. I think Ava should place more importance on, achievements.
Taking care of herself.
I agree with
Let's
that.
put more importance on everyone else and not our children.
Not everyone else. Just
us.
Just Ava.
Just Ava.
But also the career.
I mean, that's part of Ava.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A very small part.
I think probably the most important part.
I do not agree with that.
I agree with business.
Neither of you.
I agree with the careerists in this. It is important for us to be the best that we can be for our children, for our family.
Again, these kids don't exist.
I don't know.
They will soon.
Not if I have anything to do with it.
Well, you've done a lot to contribute. Thank you for your service.
There's tears. Oh, God, my face hurts.
Oh, my God.
Lie back and think of Ava.
Oh, my God. We still have 4 minutes.
Oh, shit. My stomach hurts, too.
I think I want to just end it there.
Okay.
That was great.
Oh, God.
All right. That is our timer. Now we're going to talk about expectations. How should Ava be perceived by the rest of the world? Now, like I said at the very beginning, and I still maintain that she should be a leading example of what a strong, independent, goal-oriented woman should be in today's society. Women should look at her and go, I too can be that.
I can take control of my body for what it is, and I can determine its worth.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
I slightly agree. I think that it is important to be perceived as a strong woman, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be independent. You can be strong and you can have that family, like I've been saying all along. It's important to be seen as a strong mother, as a strong wife.
How do you know? I mean, how do you even know that you're a woman if you're not independent? Like,
what's more womanly than being a mother?
plenty of things.
Lots of things. Why is being a mother the soul defining?
I mean, it's built into our biology to be mothers. Why not be perceived as a strong mother, as a strong wife? Well,
All this emphasis on motherhood, and it's so stifling for women's growth. Like, that's been the defining role for the last forever, and
Right.
it's time for us to break that. That time is over.
Take sex back to become just pleasure again. Like, it doesn't have to be about procreation. It doesn't have to be about a man or another woman. It's just about you and what is good for you. Women need to start taking care of themselves for once. For once.
I agree. I feel like for a long time that sex has been used against us to
Totally.
we're objectified. We're, our pleasure, our need of this
Takes a backseat.
takes a backseat all the time. And I think that's also, I'm not sure if I want Ava to necessarily be perceived per se for being super sexual, but
I disagree. I think that the only thing that matters to be perceived sexually is from your partner. Why do you need society to sexualize you when you already have?
You don't have just one partner. You can't please everybody, so you might as well please yourself.
But why would you want to spread yourself thin if you can stay with one partner and focus on building a relationship with that person and the children that you bear?
Well, I was about to say, well, you can definitely do that. I mean, with more than one person.
While I feel like, the owning our sexual identity is important, we have to worry about people's perceptions of us. And unfortunately, especially in certain career paths, it may not be good to be known for, getting around.
I agree with that. I mean, we certainly don't want to be seen as promiscuous.
Yeah, I
I don't
just
see a problem with that, first of all.
Well, you are the promiscuous sex bomb.
no.
Accurate.
I mean, it's just
Call
one
a
of those,
spade a spade, I guess.
it's just one of those things that could really end up damaging Ava in the future. And I just want us to be be careful.
The only people that matter are the ones who are directly around you. Like, I mean, there are the people that you trust enough with your body to share it with them, and those are the people that matter.
Mm-hmm.
The rest, perception doesn't.
But perception can totally harm us. That's the problem. Like, if it starts to get in the way of like our job path,
find a new job.
Rumors can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just worry about that aspect of.
If a job isn't willing to accept me for who I am, then I don't belong there.
Okay, that's the timer, and thank you very much for participating in today's meeting. We are now done. Stop it. Okay, the meeting is now adjourned. That was the final timer. All right, so let's just sit in silence and think about that shit.
It says, as long as you feel comfortable. So we're going to be here literally for 5 days.
Yep.
Accurate.
I'm Amber, and I played the independent careerist. I feel okay. I think it's because I played it with a group of people I feel good with, and we all know each other's thoughts on a lot of these subjects. Mm-hmm. Playing the independent careerist, it was kind of like just like playing myself. It really is. I'm very career focused, and I really believe in being independent and putting a lot of stock in just, relying on really yourself. I know that's not necessarily the right way, or everybody should be that way, but it works for me most of the time. It was really hard arguing with the housewife, so to speak, and debating, because a lot of the times there's a part of me that also, wants to be a mom really, really, really badly. Mm-hmm. So it was hard to
pretend that those are conflicting values.
Yeah, like it was really hard to play a very polar type of character talking about these subjects because so much of everything is so nuanced. So it was very hard to stay in line with that, like, that aspect's, passionate drive about what they feel Ava should be. I would be intrigued to see how it goes with all 10 personalities.
God, I can't imagine.
Yeah. I'm Brandon. I played the caring housewife, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not really happy with how that went, mostly because I think being a caring housewife is a really, really broad label, because there were many times in this game where I wanted to branch off and agree, like, there's nothing stopping a housewife from being okay with open relationships.
As long as everybody gets what they need out of it.
I think it's just like what I said too. Sorry not to take over.
No, I'm probably going to restart everything I said.
So I think it is basically talking about how it was hard to play that polar. I think you're supposed to play these aspects as how you stereotypically see this aspect, with only some nuance here and there if you agreed or disagreed with something. Like, you could be swayed perhaps, but I think you are supposed to be playing that stereotype that is held in society, because these are supposed to be aspects of a woman's role.
Yeah. It got easier when I started to go more stereotypical and just focus on the family. It became an easier role to play, not necessarily, not at all one I agree with.
That seems to have been the point of the game, though, was to sort of hit on what is the stereotype exactly and what makes it tick.
Yeah, trying to balance all these stereotypes that are completely asymmetrical. I think that kind of lifestyle, it works for some people, but for most people, it's not something that you want to be shouldered with. Like, that has to be a choice, not something that's expected of anybody.
Yep, I agree with that.
I'm Kristin, and I portrayed the promiscuous sex bomb, which is not what I am. I am also very much a non-confrontational person. I will avoid it at all costs, and so this game was a little bit freeing. I keep thinking about Brandon's character, the housewife thing, and to me, that rings as very religious, and so I kept thinking of it as, like, I am an atheist, and that is very important to me, and I actually feel very threatened by people like that, and I feel almost unsafe around them. And so to be able to, like, fight back with one was very cool.
I bet.
Even though I am the opposite of the character that I played, I felt the same amount of uncomfortable with the housewife character.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's more scary than having a person, like, basically clone their beliefs,
right,
and just are surrounded by a bunch of, like, yes people?
Yeah.
Like, how do you have a conversation, a debate about serious issues?
And that's something that I wish I could have hit on more, of, like, getting these varied experiences and taking in more than just one viewpoint, and getting with people who have different viewpoints than you, or, learning from different stages of life and different places in society. Like, you don't get that if you're stuck in the home, but if you go out and meet tons of people and get with them, and, like, sure, if you fuck them, like, you're going to learn about them.
Experiences and knowledge away from homogeneity.
Totally. Yeah. Like, I still struggled with it because, again, I don't really know what it is to be promiscuous, and I don't understand what motivates you. So I just tried to pick from, like, the empowerment of sex workers and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. The next part of this was supposed to be share a situation when you experience unrealistic expectations about how to be a woman. And if you don't have firsthand experience of being gendered as a woman, please sit back and listen. Sorry, Brandon. I have a lot of family stuff about dressing. So I once bought this dress that I absolutely loved, and I thought it looked good on me. I wore it to visit my mom and my very religious family. And my grandma is she's she doesn't mince words or anything. And so when I showed up wearing this dress and I was doing things and like I guess I bent down or something in a wrong way and you could see more of my thigh, I got told that basically that's a very unflattering dress and it's, you know, we can see this and you should be wearing something more modest. You should be wearing something more modest than that. And then she kept telling me, oh, have you heard about muumuus? You should get a muumuu. I'm like, Grandma, I'm not wearing a muumuu. Like, I don't know. But then I remember basically crying to my partner at the time. Like, I feel really bad. I really liked this outfit. I thought it looked good on me. And apparently it was too revealing. And I didn't think so. And I feel like that was like a basically being...
Whereas men can walk around shirtless.
I know. And so I think it was very much a situation where my grandmother's expectations of how women should be dressing themselves was being pushed on me. And that was a very bad experience for me. So I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that, Brandon, in your life, where someone has told you, you shouldn't be wearing that, that's too sexy.
No one has ever said to me that I'm being too sexy.
Amber, here's your opportunity.
Brandon, that hat. Jeez. Take it off. I can't. Hat wear just. Whew. I don't know if that was an unrealistic expectation for my grandmother, but it was still an expectation that, I mean, the dress was literally like down past my knees. And just because I bent over once in a bad way.
Right.
I would say that's unrealistic.
And like also another thing
it's
too.
Not like you were flashing vag or anything.
No, or around my my little cousins. No. So like another problem too was like, I'm sorry, but I have huge tits. I can't hide them. Like what? I don't like how big boobs automatically mean sex.
Right.
That is bullshit. Like I can't wear a t-shirt without somebody going,
probably,
eyes
probably
open.
Why she was suggesting a muumuu.
Yeah, to hide my tits too. I can't. What am I supposed to do? Get a breast reduction? Like, I can't wear any shirt.
But then
without...
you'd be less feminine for wanting that.
Yeah, I can't win in this situation. I know. Anyway, bullshit. I call bullshit. How can I be unsex and sexy at the same time? I just have to get inflatable boobs. like Air Jordan, like air pump to air up. Yeah.
I've been re-listening to Oh No, Ross and Carrie, and one of the things that they did was well, they are different gendered people, and so Ross did penis enlargement and Carrie did breast enlargement, and one of them was a pump.
Oh God.
She said worked for about 10 minutes.
I got one big boob.
Yep. I've been better lately about catching gendered, like...
bullshit?
Yes. The, like, lie back and take it kind of thing. Like, I bought a car today. And my dad was there with me. And we were talking to the financing manager. He came out. Like, there was something on a form, like, I forgot to put my workplace phone number on it. So I have to, like, look through my phone. I'm like, I have this stupid Windows phone that I never use. And especially never to make phone calls because we've talked about my anxiety before. And so I'm like having trouble pulling up the phone number without like accidentally calling it. And so I make some kind of comment like, you'd think I'd know how to use this phone. And this financing manager says, you'd think you'd know your work phone number. And in my head,
who knows any phone number,
Exactly. So I came up with that later, of course. I mean, I think I may have said that at the time, like, I never call it. And so then I finally find it, I write it down, and he goes off, and I look at my dad like, are you fucking kidding me? And he hadn't caught it, like, he didn't notice anything wrong with it. And so I was like, this guy just said the jerkiest thing to me.
Yeah.
And my dad was just like, take it easy, calm down, like, what we're here to do. And I was like, I have to just take that? I have to just accept that?
Yeah.
You're my father. You want me to just lie back and let men talk to me like this?
Right.
And like, I know he didn't mean anything by it, but that's how he was socialized. But that sucks.
Yeah. Boys just be boys.
Locker room talk.
I know. It's bullshit. I hate that too. Like, I talked about it with Brandon before. I can't remember in what context where we were talking. I think it was when we were reading actually other games in the feminism book, the #feminism book that we played this game from, where they have one that I obviously can't do for podcast reasons because it's all about interpretive movement around a room. And we're talking about male and female spaces, and like it's being in a job where it has been for the last 5 years I worked at. We're just now at the point where we're like almost equal women, specific gendered, female, male at the workplace, or people who present that way. Before that, it was predominantly middle-aged men. And you could, just the way they hold, like when you walk into a room as a woman, it's like you physically have to change how you hold yourself in their space. And it's so weird. And I hate that feeling of like, I have to act differently right now, or not even just act differently, just like... Well,
that's part of what I was trying to get at in the game too, is like women who wear makeup get promotions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Women who don't do not get hired.
Yep.
Like you have to wear makeup to a job interview.
Or like...
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Men don't have to wear makeup into a job interview.
Ever.
Well,
Ever.
Yeah, not like I know that when you get to a certain point, you have to get a stylist and you do get makeup, but I think to get to that point, you
like
don't
if you're
have
on
to.
screen somewhere, or like...
Because I know like all the CEOs, they have stylists, whether or not they're on TV or not, but like that's a certain level. That's not going up to that.
No, yeah. Like that's like, 30 years into your career versus literally, I'm not even hired yet, I'm coming in for an interview.
There's a really good cracked article on makeup artists for politicians and CEOs and stuff, talking about like just looking at dealing with men in power, like getting makeup put on and having to deal with that concept, where a lot of men are like, what are you doing to me? Don't make me look like a doll.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's not, men do not have that. Presentation's important, but...
The expectation of every day you have to...
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you were getting at, the reaction was so negative to having makeup because it is that gendered. Like, that's a woman thing. I'm not a woman.
Exactly.
I'm not a woman. I'm better than that.
Or even clothing. I mean, we can get into that too. It's like, I absolutely hate when I wear a skirt to work and somebody goes, "Oh, you look nice today." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't look nice yesterday when I was wearing pants?" Like, what the fuck? Why is, it looks like you took some time this morning to... I'm like, the skirt has elastic in it, and I didn't want to wear anything else.
I didn't even have to zip this.
It took less time
to put on and think about. And they're like, "Oh, you look nice today." I'm like, what?
I look nice because I look more feminine, is what you're saying.
Yes, I hate that.
Yes.
I hate it so much, and it bothers me. I'm like, well, I'm not wearing this skirt again. And like I talked about this a lot to Brandon too. Is like I don't like being thought about physically, because I don't like people thinking about the outward thing. And I don't think about my outward appearance a whole heck of a lot.
I am personally very uncomfortable with my outward appearance, and so I definitely don't want people like
commenting
thinking,
on it.
Yes,
right. So
totally.
At work, and I've experienced this in several places. And Brandon, you probably have never experienced it, or you may have never even seen it, but especially in an office setting. And if there's anybody in your new job, maybe, or if there's any women in your new job, keep a lookout for this. But men commenting on women's body. "Oh, she's so tall. Oh, she's like a beanpole." And then like no comments will ever happen to me, because if they make a comment on any part of my body or my height or stature or whatever, it'll be come across as sexual harassment. Because you can't say, "Oh, look how big your butt is today," or, "Oh, she's super chubby. Oh, look at you're so chubby." But it's okay to talk about how tall somebody is, how short somebody is, and then how skinny they are.
Right.
So there was another one that says, "Share a situation where you have expected something from a person solely because you gendered them as a woman."
I can't think of anything specific, but I feel like there's been some times where like I have expected some empathy from women before and didn't get it, but I'm not sure if I expected it because of them being a woman or just because they're a human being. But I mean, it's very possible that there was a higher chance out that I was expecting more empathy because they were a woman.
I was going to say something similar in my search for a vehicle. One of the salespeople that responded was named Linda. And so I was like, I'd probably have better luck talking with someone of my own gender.
Yeah.
Because I sort of know a little bit more about how they tick, but no, still a car salesman. So not really. Yeah, didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like situations where I've done that, and I it might be stuff that, you know, it's so ingrained in our societal expectations and so nuanced that we don't even know that we're doing it.
Like my dad didn't realize that him telling me just let it go was more hurtful than what this stranger actually said.
Right. I think one of the things, again, I mean, I work in an office, so we tend to be more emotionally, when I say we, I'm talking about specifically the women in my office. You know, we tend to be more emotionally expressive with each other. But what's funny is, like, I think about, like, I do that with men. I don't expect that from them, right? So it was really weird for me when my male boss hugged me one time. Like, he was just excited to see me because he didn't see me in like 2 months. It's like, Amber! And then hugged me, and I went, oh,
I guess this happens.
I guess this happens between... okay, cool. So I think that's one of those things where you just kind of constantly expect women to be more receptive and open to, you know, displays of affection or consoling or whatever. And then we don't really expect men to be that way, or we don't. And I wonder also if it's just a matter of, like, just being, again, that protective of ourselves. You know, no, you know, it's so... physical affection is so tied to sexual affection that it's, like, hard to, like, separate the two.
Yeah. And
anyway,
it's like women are like you were saying, women are automatically seen as sexual. And, like, there's a lot of film theory on how women are photographed and filmed.
Yes.
Versus
the boob male gaze.
Yes.
Male gaze.
And, like, women are always a collection of parts. And men are whole individuals.
Yeah. All right. So we have 2 topics we can talk about. You know, how do these unrealistic expectations affect women in society today? I feel like we talked about, how can we be everything? Yeah. And that's just so much pressure and stress and anxiety and depression and self-worth issues out the ass. And
you're dealing with all these old roles and all of these new possibilities at the same time. Like, how do you juggle that? You have to find that balance, or you just don't.
Yeah, it's like our gender roles have not evolved to match the society that we live in the same way that, like, physically our bodies haven't caught up with how to deal with our diet. Like, it's very similar.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's like you have different roles with different people. So, like, you're not just juggling the roles, you're juggling the context of those roles.
Code switching.
Yeah, it's exactly that same thing.
Oh my God. Fuck. It's just hard and it's draining.
Yes.
I feel drained most of the time.
And I think for me, most of the time, it's not specifically related to my gender why I'm drained, but it doesn't help.
No, it does not help. I think when men start taking on traditional female-centered roles, you get looked down on.
They feel emasculated.
That you feel, like, in general, it's like an emasculation. Oh, you're a stay-at-home dad? What does your wife do? Like, you're whipped by your wife?
Right.
And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah. I think that's directly tied to feminism.
It is, because those roles are looked down upon.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like you were talking about earlier with makeup. Like, if a man wants to wear makeup, he should be able to without being looked down on for stuff that's not even negative anyway. So what? What
does Dan Savage say that, like, people who are homophobic are typically misogynistic as well?
Right.
Because
totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because it's like, you know, male relationship.
It's all about emasculation.
It's all about emasculation. And the emasculation comes from seeing a female role as lesser.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Anyway, so that was being Ava White. It was a very
painful.
I mean,
the discussion was
lots of ways.
The discussion was a little heavier than I was
Yes.
thinking it was going to be, but that was good.
Mhm. It is 4 out of 5 intensity.
That is true.
There are 4 out of 5 blood drops here, or teardrops. I'm not sure what they are.
They're green, so who knows?
So yeah, thanks for playing. I'm glad I got to share this experience with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I touched on a few personal topics that I really felt like cutting, but I think they need to stay in to highlight the overall impact of the game. If you've been enjoying the show, please consider leaving a rating or review on iTunes. I bought these little Daruma dolls that you use to set goals for. I have an eye filled in on one right now for getting 5 reviews on iTunes. If I get 5, I'll be able to fill in the other eye. There'll be a picture of it up on Twitter at ShapeshiftCast and also on ShapeshiftCast's Tumblr. You can also find me on Twitter and Tumblr at Rocket Orca, which is usually just full of weeb stuff. Shapeshift is a member of the Geekspective Network. Geekspective just launched a new podcast that I'm on. Tales from Mark's Ferry is a campaign being run by Josh using Blades in the Dark. We've set it in the D&D world we've created over the last 7 years, and I'm playing Vez Stumpgut, the Goblin Hound. If heists are your thing, you should check it out. Next episode of Shapeshift comes out on October 19th. See you then!